Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to America once again, and this is yet another one of the beers that I brought back with me from my recent trip over there to my friend's wedding. So for this one we are going to go to Chicago, and we're having a taste of one of a beer from one of the numerous breweries in Chicago that I've never tried anything from. So since this is a Chicago beer, a huge shout out to Jess Holden, who very kindly gave me a nice beer tour of the city, and it was really great to meet him again after seeing him in Copenhagen. And he's followed the channel for a number of years, and that's what I always say it's all about. It's always great to meet you guys that are following the videos, and this particular beer was one that came from his recommendation. So for this one we are going to head to the Alarmist Brewery, who are from the kind of northwestern part of the city, and we're having a taste of their Le Juice. So this one is a New England style IPA coming in at 6% ABV, and it's very, very highly rated. If you check this one out on Untappd, it's got a 4.17, and it's got it won the 2018 gold medal at the Great American Beer Fest, which I believe is in Denver, Colorado, and it won the gold medal within that New England hazy category. So this one should be an absolute beast of a beer. I'm really looking forward to trying this one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on it. So yeah, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Alarmist Brewing. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the American beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the brewery then, on to my brewery notes. So as I mentioned to you before, Alarmist Brewing are based in Chicago in Illinois, and the company was founded by Gary Gully. So he'd studied civil engineering at Purdue University over in Indiana, graduating in 1990, and after this he worked for a period in the nuclear power industry. But during his work there he was transferred to Texas, and it was there that he discovered Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and Celis White in the early 1990s. I think it was 1992 he said, and he said that this was his beer epiphany. So one of his colleagues at that time was also homebrewing, and so he joined in once and said that he was very, very quickly hooked. And when he moved back to Chicago in 1992, he continued to homebrew for a couple of years up until about 1994, when he says he stopped for no particular reason. Apparently at the time he was more interested in chasing women, which he said he did very badly, and getting drunk, which he said he did very, very well. A number of years later though, in 2008, when he owned his own house and things like this, he had a bit of room in his basement, he suddenly got the urge to start brewing again. So he dusted off his old equipment after the urge was nagging him for a little while. He read up on some literature, and he went to his homebrew shop and bought some new ingredients to begin brewing again. Over the coming years he gradually built up his knowledge, and in 2010 he decided to go for it with the brewery after he attended the Chicago Brewers Guild. The following year though, there was a bit of a disaster kind of came into his life. So he was laid off from his job at a travel company after he told them that his wife was seriously ill with cancer. And originally this brewery was to be called Panic, because this is what Gary said he did at the time. His wife was very, very ill, and he'd just been laid off with his job. But the name was changed when Track 7 Brewery from Sacramento intervened owing to their Panic IPA beer that they did, and it was at this point that Gary decided to change the name to Alarmist. But he started studying with the Vermont Brewers Guild, and he also got some hands-on experience with the Harpoon Brewery in Vermont, and also Metropolitan Brewing in Chicago. And Metropolitan Brewing actually helped him set up an investment forum for the brewery. And so in 2012 he started to seek investors, and after a while, it was a $10,000 buy-in or something like this. They've got somewhere in the region of 12 investors from what I understand, but they managed to open up an 11,000 square foot facility near North Park, and they've continued to build up their capacity and repertoire of beers ever since. There's an on-site tap room there that you can visit as well, which looks really nice in the warehouse. But as of June 2019 they've produced around 75 different varieties of beer, and that's growing all the time of course. But from what I could see on the Untappd list, quite a lot of them seemed to be IPAs and things like that, but there were a few other styles in there as well. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about the Alarmist Brewery just now. That was all the information I was really able to find on them actually when I was researching, because they are still a fairly new brewery. I believe they only produced their first beers commercially in about about 2015, but they seem to be very highly regarded, and like I said, this is one of the beers that Jess recommended to me, and he hasn't pointed me in the wrong direction at all. So so yeah, you know, really cool of him to point me in the direction of this beer, and I'm sure it will be a bit of a beast. But yeah, if you want to learn a little bit more about the brewery, you can check out the brewery website in the description below. There is a blog there that goes through all of the different things that Gary's done over the time of the brewery. He often used to make jokes about how slow he was to actually grow the brewery, but you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can check out their different beer lists on Untappd and Rate Beer as well. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So as I mentioned to you at the start of the video, this one is a 6% New England IPA. It's hot with mosaic and citra, and it's also got some lactose in there as well. But yeah, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. There you can see the Alarmist Brewing symbol there. If I take the can just back a little bit, you know, it's a really nice kind of almost retro 70s sort of disco type artwork, this one, if I'm describing it right. Probably Peter over at the Clueless Drinker is having a heart attack if he's watching this video, because he is quite into his art, and you know, to be honest, I'm the most artistically illiterate person that you're going to come across. It kind of happens when you study astrophysics and chemistry and stuff like this. But yeah, you know, really nicely presented one. This is a 470ml can, 473ml can, my apologies, in the metric system, but it's 1 US pint, or 16 fluid ounces as they like to call it. They've got a really strange measuring system over there. But let's get it out and we'll get on to the tasting then. Some of these cans are a bit difficult to open, but as soon as you open this beer up, you do start to get some of these lovely fruity, juicy esters out of it. But yeah, look at that. That's an awesome looking beer. Yeah, that'll do for the moment. So yeah, as you can see with this one, yeah, the head on this is a little bit big. It must have kind of got aggravated a little bit when I was bringing it over in the plane. But as you can see, this is poured a lovely, I would say, it's almost like a kind of peach juice or pineapple juice colour, this one. It's a kind of medium yellow, this, but a hell of a lot of haze to it, which to be honest is what you would expect from a New England IPA. I'm stating the obvious there. You've got a 2-finger kind of creamy coloured head on this one. It does have a few bumps to it, in fairness. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it looks pretty nice, and you know, nothing overly surprising about the appearance of this beer when you consider it's a New England IPA. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see this beer is pretty damn opaque in terms of its colour, so not surprising at all. But yeah, it looks really, really nice, this. So let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on with this one. Yeah, this one smells really bright and juicy. It's a lovely smooth smelling aroma, this one. I mean, straight away you're going to notice the slightly sweeter notes from the lactose jumping out of this one. You can also get a nice kind of creamy oaty quality in there as well. There might be a little touch of a biscuity sweetness, and there's also some nice smooth wheaty qualities as well. So yeah, the malt base is really nice, but the hops are kind of jumping out at you too. I mean, you can smell some of these tangerine oranges from the mosaic. They're jumping out at you, and there's also the nice mango notes from the citra in there as well. I mean, it's a very bright, juicy and sweet smelling New England IPA, this actually. I really like the aroma on this one. It smells very, very fresh actually. So yeah, other than that, the green side of the hops, it leans a little bit more towards the grassy side of things. I'm not getting too much in the way of floral character coming out of this one. There is a little bit of complexity to the fruits as well. There's maybe a little bit of a lychee, gooseberry kind of thing from the citra. And in honesty, I can actually pick up a little bit of blueberry in there, and that's one of the other complexities you can get from mosaic too. But the aroma of this beer is very, very nice, very fresh, and really quite juicy actually, to be honest with you. So I think this one is going to be a pretty damn good beer, and if Jesse's recommended to me, of course, I'm pretty sure, you know, it will be a good beer, to be honest with you. So let's have a taste of this one then and see how we get on. As I always say, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. That's always half the experience when it comes to things like craft beers, whiskies and sakes. But let's have a taste of this beer. This one is the Le Juice, a 6% New England style IPA from Alarmist Brewing in the northwestern part of Chicago over in Illinois in America. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte Skål. Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful beer. That's ridiculous. Yeah, if you get the chance to try this, just go for it. That beer has some impact on it, I have to say. You know, I was feeling a little bit tired going into filming this review, but I tell you something, I'm bloody well awake now. Yeah. Yeah. That's a lovely, lovely New England IPA, this one. You know, big thumbs up to the guys at Alarmist for this. This is really top class stuff. I can see exactly why this beer is so highly rated, and I think this one is pretty damn fresh, to be honest with you. I mean, I've only had this beer, what, about 2-3 weeks, something like that. This is really bloody good, actually. So yeah, with this beer then, straight away it's going to come in and give you a nice big floral bite on the sides of your palate. It really does have a nice little kick to it, this one. And it's weird because it wasn't so obvious in the aroma. From the aroma, I was thinking this would be quite a more grassy leaning and smooth New England IPA. Well, maybe saying it's not smooth is a bit wrong. I was just thinking this was going to be a more subtle New England IPA, but it does have a really nice bite to it, actually. So a huge thumbs up to Alarmist once again for this beer. This is absolutely cracking. Yeah, so let's try and break the flavour of this one down a little bit then. So, middle of your palate, straight away you're going to feel those nice kind of pale malty qualities just blanket in the middle of your tongue. The more and more you drink of this beer though, the more it starts to lean towards, you know, the more you start to get these, the kind of smoother, wheaty, white bready notes coming out of this one. If you go to the very centre of your palate, that's where you get some of these oaty, creamy notes as well. And in the very, very centre of your tongue, you've got a bit of that kind of biscuity sweetness too. The way that the malt base comes out in this beer is really nice. And I'm finding that the further you go into the aftertaste, that's when you start to get some of the slightly sweeter lactosey notes coming out of this one. Yeah, I really like how this one is going together. I mean, this is one of these beers for me that's not doing anything new or anything surprising with the style, but it's just really, really bloody well done. You know, it's just an awesome, awesome example of the style of this. So if you get the chance to try this, have a go at it. This one's won a gold medal for a reason, I'll tell you that. It really is just very, very nice. So yeah, the malt base is lovely in this one, and the way the hops are coming out, it does have a nice little bit of a kick to it, this beer. So let's focus on that hoppy side of things now. In the back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness from the Mosaic. As you come further forward along the sides of your tongue, you get a nice floral aromaticity. Around the very front curve of your palate, it's just a little bit lighter and more grassy, I think. It just becomes that little bit lighter and more grassy around the front curve of the tongue. So on the green side of the hops, it really comes across very nicely, but there's a good little bit of bite to this one, I think, just because of how fresh it is, actually. Yeah. I still can't get over how good this one is. This is probably one of the best IPAs I've reviewed on the channel for a little while, actually. You know, it's just so well balanced. I can see exactly why this one won the award. So, you know, if somehow those of you in Europe manage to come across this beer, buy it. You know, buy as much of it as you can, because it really is, it's awesome, actually. So yeah, let's have a little look at the fruity side of the beer then. So with this one, as I always say, if you go behind the front curve of your palate, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer. For me, this one is very kind of straight up, and it gives you what you would expect from these hops. If you go to the very back of that oily bubble, there's a little tiny touch of a slightly darker grapefruity kind of note in there, but that's quite minimal. As you come further forward from that, it becomes more sort of mango-y, and then moving further forward, that's when you start to get the nice kind of tangerine-y, orangey flavours that you would expect of the Mosaic. The further you go into the aftertaste, I think you start to get a little bit of a kind of papaya, maybe slightly, you know, papaya, maybe a little touch of a kind of pineapple-y note coming out of this one as well. It's not overly pineapple-y, but just quite mild. But to me, very straight up mangoes, a little bit of that darker, maybe passion fruit or grapefruit in there at the very back of the tongue, some tangerine oranges, and then the further you go into the aftertaste, you start to get some of the nice complexities out from both the hops that are being used in this beer. So yeah, almost on the very tip of your tongue, if you go to the very centre of the tip of your tongue, there's a little bit of blueberry, rather, not blackberry, coming out of this one. And that's one of these really kind of interesting slight subtleties that you can get from the Mosaic hop. I've always found it's coming out really nicely on the very, very tip of your tongue. Behind that, there's a little touch of a limey quality, I think, from the Citra, and maybe even a little touch of a lychee note as well. But this is just, as I've said, as I've repeated on numerous occasions now, this is just a beautiful example of a New England IPA. This is one of the best American ones that I've tried so far, actually. So, you know, have a go at this for yourself and just see what you think. In terms of the mouthfeel, I would say that this beer is mid-bodied. Carbonation's very, very smooth on this one. I would say that overall this beer is really leaning towards that kind of smooth, slightly creamy side of things. There's a good little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one. I want to say there's about 40 IBUs in this beer. It does have a nice little bit of a floral aromaticity to it the more and more that you drink of it. Lovely juicy fruit quality to this one, and the juicy fruits are lingering there the further you go into the aftertaste and building a good bridge actually with the hoppy bitterness that the beer has. And the malt base, the lactosey notes in this are quite subtle for me. It actually comes across as quite a creamy, smooth malt base, this one, and it seems to me it leans a little bit more towards the oats and the wheat rather than the lactose. So yeah, the lactosey notes in this beer are just very, very subtle. But as I said, this is one of these beers that doesn't do anything surprising, but it packs a hell of a punch. It's just very, very well crafted. So let's leave it at that. If you get the chance to try this, get it. It's an awesome, awesome IPA, this one. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from the Alarmist Brewery as well. And, you know, check out my social media and all of these sort of things. But this is one of my favourite IPAs that I've reviewed on the channel for over the last little while. So if you get the chance to try this, just go for it. You will certainly not regret this one. One of the best IPAs I've reviewed so far in 2019. Indeed, I think maybe one of the best ones I've had on the channel so far, actually. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The juice from the Alarmist Brewery in the northwestern part of Chicago in Illinois over in America. Big shout out to Jess once again for making this review possible, and I thank you guys for watching. Ciao just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Slàinte scoil. Make sure you check out this beer. Cheers.